wanted to talk to y'all today about how wellness correlates with being a creative, right? Oftentimes, like I've not connected the two early on in life, like when I was real young. But over the last, I would say like 10 years, the core to me being successful is practicing wellness. And what that means to me is just being able to think and fluidly feel and be in tune with my spirituality while also showing up with the skills that I got. So I wanted to bring on a coach, like a wellness coach, to really talk about this. Someone who's found a lot of success on social media platforms, just sharing his journey. And I think this would be a good opportunity for him to, give me the next play to level up. And then I'll share that with y'all as well. So we about to be up here and do a quick workshop. I have some really good questions I want to ask him. And yeah, it's that simple. Y'all know how we do. Like I don't gotta really say too much, like as far as introductions and all of that, because y'all seen me go live at least 100 times. You feel me? So you already know what it is. We about to just take some time to just affirm that even though, you know what I mean? Oh, it's right here behind me, right? I'm still growing, and that's okay, right? So for anybody if this your first time, that's okay. Like if you've been attempting to get on your wellness journey and fell off a few times, or if you got a lot of knowledge about this and you just haven't acquired the discipline, like even if you're doing it and you just really want to find more community and more people on that type time, there's going to be a lot for that. I'm going to also put this on YouTube too. And if y'all are watching it on YouTube, hey, YouTube. But like, I wanted to initially record this on YouTube, but that's another conversation for another day. That's another conversation for another day, right? That's all good. Let's see. It say we connected now. I know it'll be taking a little second. There it goes.
What's up, family?
Bless up, my guy. Bless up. Bless up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I want to hop right into it because I know we both on a schedule, and hopefully that's something that we touch on later in this conversation, is just as far as being prompt, being scheduled. I remember last time we talked in VA, you was highlighting why having a calendar, like you meet a lot of people who don't implement a calendar. I want to pick up there. That was one of the moments that really struck me, like that really resonated, because my life used to be all over the place until about maybe 4 or 5 months ago when I started really using a calendar religiously. So could you talk about what you've experienced or witnessed, and then how implementing that can be important?
Goals without systems are just like pipe dreams, and I think fundamentally operating from a calendar is just the first step in having some sort of systematic approach to life in general. Um, I am gifted with ADHD, and if I don't have my systems, if I don't have my calendar, if I don't have my reminders, if I don't have these tools, right, leveraging this technology, I'm all over the place. And most of us, bro, we have so many things vying for our attention that if we don't have something to just keep us organized, then like I said, we're all over the place. So that landed for me when I started noticing how much more productive I was, and it also freed up a lot of mental rent. It helped improve my mental health to get more organized, having systems, because you're not so stressed. You have order, right? And it's the same with my space. Like if I show you my apartment right now, everything has a space. And when my place is chaotic, because it gets like that from time to time, I notice that it affects me mentally and emotionally, right? So it's just about having structure and order and uh and allowing that to support you on the achievement of, on the pursuit of anything that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, man, I wanted to come in hot because, like, I seen everybody flowing in, and I had made a little brief introduction of what this was going to be about. But I want you to just reintroduce yourself real quick. I know we had quick live earlier this week. And if y'all haven't seen that, that'd be a deeper dive into who we both are. I want to use this time to really get to the application and the practices of how wellness and creativity come together. So yeah, just introduce yourself real quick, and then I got three high level questions, and then you know what I'm saying. That's how
Yeah,
we walk in today.
say less, say less. So yeah, my name is Brooks Glover. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I live here in Norfolk right now. Been here for a while. I am an entrepreneur in the wellness space, right? Started off as just one-on-one coaching, weight loss coaching because I lost 160 pounds. I kind of transitioned into supporting people more on a life level, right? Because there's so much connection between our physical form and what's going on with us mentally and emotionally. So, I started teaching mindfulness and yoga and breath work and journaling. And these tools have become, the main tools that I use to support people in their health journey. So, high level, that's what I do.
Yes, indeed. So I want to add in a few more people in here because I got a bunch of little mini group chats I have. So I want to make sure that they, at least if they don't see it now, then they'll see the recording and tap in. And shouts out to everybody pulling up, man. Like I ain't even gonna do the whole shout out thing because y'all done popped up 30 deep already. So the first question I want to ask, right, is three habits. Like, what are three habits that, as a creative and as an entrepreneur, because that's who I talk to, right? I speak to creatives who want to practice entrepreneurship. Early on, I realized like a lot of creatives aren't super enthusiastic or knowledgeable about making money, and then when you learn that your creativity is worth money, there's hurdles, and I feel like a lot of those hurdles be personal development hurdles. There's a bunch of
Mm,
YouTube, there's a bunch of Chat GPT. It's not like you don't got the information at this point. It
mhm.
really just be a matter of like committing to the execution. So can you name or give us three habits that would really help with the personal development or just, becoming
Mhm.
a better practitioner of wellness?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that comes to mind for me is some sort of mindfulness habit, right? In general, having some sort of space in your day, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you can afford, to just observe your thoughts, right? A space to just process anything that may be coming up. Whether you're a creative or an entrepreneur, we have busy minds, bro. I mean, we all do, right? But especially creatives and entrepreneurs. So having a habit, right? And I call it a discipline, having a daily discipline in place that gives you an opportunity to observe your mind, to process, to feel whatever emotions may be coming up. I think that's extremely important. Um, the next habit that comes to mind for me is, again, we spoke about structure, right? Having having your goals written out, right? I start with my quarterly goals and then I reverse engineer. And
Okay.
I get it down to what are my daily action items. That way I'm on track. So having some sort of system to know exactly what you're intending to get done on a particular day is super duper important. I've recently transitioned out of a digital mode to using more physical, right? Like I'll use this, right?
Mm,
And I'll write stuff down. And I just learned that that works better for me, right? To have a checklist that I actually write, because I spent years doing it digitally. So having some sort of system and having clarity on exactly what you want to get done and making sure that you have a system to check in with yourself, right? So on Sundays, I review everything that I set out to get done this week. Did I get it done? Because if you don't have some sort of system of accountability with yourself or externally, a lot of stuff gets slipped through the cracks. So first one being some sort of mindfulness routine, second being some sort of system to ensure that your inputs, the things that you need to get done from day to day, that they're actually getting done, right? um, the third habit, and this could kind of be a part of your mindfulness, but there's got to be some sort of physical element, right? Some sort of exercise, stretching, walking, right? A lot of us don't connect the impact, right? Connect the benefits of physical movement to our creative endeavors or our entrepreneurial endeavors, but they are directly tied, right? And especially when it comes to your mental health, right? So physical exercise, I mean, the science is in, like you said, we have access to all the information. Physical exercise has been one of the most underrated mental health tools there is. So just simple movement. So those are the three habits that I would focus on.
Yeah, I want to unpack a few of those things you mentioned before moving on. Like with the mindfulness hack or like being mindful in the mornings intentionally. I remember you hearing this before, like meditation or just being sitting in your thoughts. And when I used to struggle with that, my main struggle used to be feeling like the things that I had already going on they couldn't wait, right? So I'd be like, man, I'm going to be 5 minutes late to this, or should I really be taking time to just sit here? I know we talked a little bit about in Virginia, sometimes people not having the will or like the focus to even sit for that 10 or 20 minutes. But I want to talk a little bit more about like when you have the intention and the will to do it, but you just feel like you're just too busy. You like, oh my gosh, it like sometimes it feels like that 10 minutes is gonna hurt you or something. And it even doubles back into the physical exercise part. So I'll get to that at the end of my unpacking. But like, can you talk about why it's important to make the time for that? Because that was my initial struggle, thinking that that was the waste of time, was sitting there doing that.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel that way. And that's just one of the tricks that your mind plays on you. It's an illusion. It's a false thought. And if you experience that, that's more of an indication that you need to prioritize the space right there. You feel what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's the first I guess red flag, if you will, that's communicating that you need to prioritize this. So here's the thing too, urgency, and I understand it, especially as we have a lot going on, especially entrepreneurs. I understand this feeling of urgency, but I'm gonna try my best to articulate this. But there's something beautiful that happens when you slow down, that it speeds you up.
I just heard that in the song yesterday. Yeah, man, the OGs will teach you that, right? That's really how to speed it up is slowing down.
You gotta slow down because a lot of the times we confuse activity with progress, like motion. Like that's not motion. Motion is being more strategic, getting the right inputs, doing the right things, making the right calls, spending our time doing the right thing. But if you don't have a moment to sit and strategize and breathe, you could be doing a whole lot of shit and getting nothing done.
Right.
You feel what I mean? So, and I also advise people to educate themselves on the science of
Yeah.
meditation, right? Like, don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. Look at the science. There's neuroplasticity, right? There's there's all sorts of studies that have proven how this practice, this tool, this discipline can transform everything in your life. So educate yourself, because the more you believe that something will help you, the more you hear how directly this is going to make you more productive, more effective, more creative, then you will learn to prioritize it a little bit better.
Yeah, man. And you said that's helped me a lot. I'm a really a logic based person often. I mean, we're all very emotional in our own way, but like the way I like or I prefer or I enjoy learning things is based on hard facts.
Mm-hmm.
And so that helps me a lot too is studying it. And I want to encourage everybody who's here, right? Let me know in the comments if you staying, right? If you staying the whole time and you rocking with us, and let me know if y'all just pulling up to see what's going on. I want to give y'all some insight that Bricks, he's a wellness coach and I'm a creative coach, right? And so today we're here just having a conversation about some of the things that are integral, helpful, and some things you might have just thought. So if you have questions as well, feel free to ask them. And I encourage you to send this to somebody who like you really rock with so that you could watch it with them and then y'all could talk during the comments and then, stimulate and work off of one another. Cause that's what I like to do. I like to always
Mm-hmm.
just invite somebody to watch this stuff with me. So you mentioned quarters earlier, right? As a business person, that's when I got introduced to the idea of looking at things from a quarterly aspect. And so, for anyone who's not like business oriented, or they just hearing that for the first time, can you explain what quarters are? And then you said you work back from there.
Hmm.
Can you explain to us what that process looks like, and how you do that?
Yeah, so the fiscal year, right, or a year in business is broken up into four quarters. Um, and it's simple as that, simple math, right? So January to April's Q1, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what I do is I try to have goals for my business, whether it's revenue goals, whatever the metric is, right? Your whatever your data, the data that you like to track, right? For me, it's like revenue, it's subscribers on my email list, not on my social media, because that's a whole nother conversation. But having measurable things that you want to achieve, and then when I say I reverse engineer from that, from a quarterly goal down to a daily to-do list.
Okay.
You feel what I mean? So my daily to-do list over the course of the quarter should help me reach whatever my quarterly goal is.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes more. That's why it takes more slowing down and being strategic and thinking from a macro perspective instead of letting your day to just, letting, you know, whatever you got going on to just determine what you get done for the day. Like you got to be more strategic and intentional, right? That word intentionality, man, is such a huge thing. We got to move with more intention, and a big part of moving with more intentions is having systems.
Yeah, I was talking to Keys yesterday. I had tapped in with him for like a consultation similar to this, like just a conversation about things. And one of the questions I had asked him was, how he integrates all of the different businesses into one thing. And that's what he said what you said without the business vocabulary. He said, I have a vision, and then everything that I do, the intention behind it aligns with what the vision is. So
Hmm.
it's almost like the same format, just different learned environment, right? Like
Hmm.
different practice. So let's touch a little bit on exercise before I get to my next question. I noticed my friend Tiff, she's in here. Tiff is a really dope creative who helps with administrative tasks. She's located in California. So anybody who wants to have a space where you can find engagement, find community. She's a great place to start, and she's a great supporter. Sometimes I'll look at her story and she'd be posting stuff from Philly. I'm like, girl, you're not in Philly. Like, what I'm saying? So she's super supportive. So yeah, tap in with her. So as far as exercise, right? I think a lot of times people think of exercise like you got to go to the gym, lift hard weights, and sweat.
Hmm.
And oftentimes, even with practicing better eating habits, I think people look at it like I'm either all in or I'm wasting my time,
Hmm.
right? Like 10 or 15 minutes isn't gonna do anything, or extra bottle of water not gonna help. So can you talk about just practicing and getting in the routine of exercise, or what are something that you would advise someone that you're coaching into seeing their best version of themselves coming out of exercising?
Yeah, what you mentioned is so true, and it's one of the most common roadblocks for people. I like to reduce exercise to one word: movement.
Right, that's a lot. Right, that's a good John. Right.
It's just movement, and however you can get additional movement in during your day. Like I have one coaching client. He's an executive, C-suite executive, and trying to get this man to go to the gym and spend 60 minutes in the gym is just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I have this technique that I do with him, right? Pomodoro technique. He's going to work for 50 minutes straight. And then for 10, after his 50-minute alarm goes off, he walks the stairs for 10
Yeah.
minutes to come back down. And he does that 7 times a day.
Right.
That equals an hour, 70 minutes of exercise. So however you can sneak in extra movement it will be beneficial. If you can only do a 15-minute body weight exercise, moment in your crib first thing in the morning, if that's all you have access to, it helps. It counts. If you can only walk, right? If you have a step goal and you're just reducing your soda intake, that
Mm.
will move the needle. You feel what I'm saying? That is effective. So you want to be honest with yourself and you want to reduce it, like I said, because the word exercise or going to the gym or workout, it,
Intimidating.
it's very intimidating for people, bro. It creates anxiety. So if you just
Yeah.
say, hey, listen, I just want to move more. I just need to move more, and simplify it in that way, you allow yourself to be more gracious with yourself, and you just reframe it, because a lot of our mental errors, bro, just take little reframes, right?
Mm.
The language we use sometimes is the biggest barrier for us, right? So if exercise is not something that resonates with your spirit, that you're like, nah, that's not something that you resonate with, then yeah, let's just reframe it as just movement, and just try to just whatever movement looks like for you in your day, just try to incorporate it a little bit more and build on that.
Yeah, it made me think of, like you said, if someone likes to dance, I like to walk. My exercise, I probably get in, and I like to walk because it helps me flush my brain. I was hearing about that the other day. Like the exercise literally has certain chemicals and certain, like you said, scientific things. Like it literally washes off on your brain when you
Hmm.
get to moving around. Mine is walking, but I could imagine if someone like dancing or something, right? They put on the nice like three or four songs they like, and if they dance, then it'll even open up the opportunity to think like, dang, I wanted to use my knees more. I wanted to be able to move more fluently, and then that can open up the um, not even the urge, but the commitment or the will to
Hmm.
want to,
Hmm.
be more in movement, to move
Yeah,
more. So that's
for
that's a
sure.
I love that word, like you said, just movement. Like
Hmm.
that's
Right.
definitely a good way to introduce it. I also want to let y'all know, everyone who's still here, if you end up watching the recording, right? I want to let y'all know that I'm gonna upload this on YouTube at some point. And the goal is to be able to provide a space where you all can find consistent coaching with wellness through bricks, because that's not my forte. The reason I have him here is so that I can introduce this to creative people, because I
Mm.
noticed from my professional practice that a lot of creative people can benefit from this. And I also wanted to do a check-in for myself. So could you tell a little bit about some of the programs, or like some of the offers, or like I know you're working on a new platform as well that you announced recently. Could you talk about it a little bit before we go into the next set of
Yeah,
questions?
yeah. So a lot of my one-on-one coaching clients are, C-suite executives, folks who have the disposable income to pay me $20,000 a year, right? And I understand that that's not most of our realities, right? Times are tough right now. So what I'm working on right now is a group coaching experience that will make coaching more accessible for most people, right? I'm calling it Shine, right? It's a group coaching program. I don't use this language, but I'm gonna talk about it here. But I'm helping people develop self-awareness, right? I'm helping people set the intention of healing. I'm helping people integrate some of the things that they learn from some of the tools that I'm giving them. So
Right.
it's weight loss, but it's through the angle of mental, emotional, and spiritual tools. You feel
Yeah.
what I mean? But building community is a huge part of it. So there's a community there. I meet with them once a week. They get all the resources. I'm leveraging AI, right? So I can streamline. That's what helps me make it more affordable, and still allow people to get that customized experience. But tap in with me. It's like I said, it's affordable, but it's also something that is extremely transformative to people who are ready.
Yeah, man. And I appreciate you letting them know that, because a lot of times we'll always ask, like, oh, how do I tap in? Or, what's the next step? So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew when they watch this, and people who, like you said, if they've watched it this far, I'm more than sure they're definitely a lot more adamant and willing to commit. So thank you for that as well.
Absolutely.
So my next question is about burnout, right?
Mm.
There's this term that I learned when I was in Philly, like a lot of times, a lot of you'll go a lot of places, you'll do a lot of things, kind of like we were saying earlier, with no system, and then eventually you'll find yourself 6 months down the line burnt out and even questioning if you even want to do the thing you love
Mhm.
anymore because of what it did to you. So can you talk about how burnout impacts talk about burnout and how it infringes on the path to wellness, and how we can make
Mm.
some practices to stay away from burnout? Because I feel like a lot of people, even the everyday working person, a lot of people I think feel that, where they're like, they go past they threshold and then they don't even want to, the idea of even doing anything about it, it becomes even traumatic.
Yeah, yeah, no, trust me. I spent a good 8 years subscribing to hustle culture, right? 16 hours a day, no breaks. Sleep is for suckers. That whole narrative, which is extremely, damaging. But so I speak on this from experience, right? I've definitely burnt out. I still have my moments where I'm pushing myself a little too hard, but I have systems in place that allow me to catch it, right?
Right.
But but when we spoke about, again, the systems, the calendar, right? We spoke about the habits, the exercise, the mindfulness. Um, Prioritizing these things are big ways to support the prevention of burnout. Also, just developing the awareness, right? I remember my days of operating without self-awareness, awareness of what's going on mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Being intentional about that, because a lot of the times we don't really know we're burnt out until we hit the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So just being on the lookout for certain things, and you got to know yourself in order to catch this stuff before it gets too far. And also just making sure that all of your moves are intentional. They are strategic. They're not just a reactive action, right? It's something that's intentional. It has a purpose. You've put some thought behind it. And the only way to, again, to do that is to slow down. You know what I mean? And I'm speaking to myself too. I'm not perfect when it comes to any of this. Let me be very clear. Let me, you know, I may be able to articulate this stuff well, but these are things that I'm still working on myself. And a lot of what I experienced in my burnout season was fear connected to childhood trauma.
Okay.
You feel me? Really operating with this, oh, I gotta grind mentality, uh,
Because you don't want to
because
go back.
because
Yeah.
I don't want to be poor again.
Yeah.
And that energy, you feel what I'm saying? Like that energy is destructive to you mentally and emotionally, right? But a lot of us, a lot of that stuff happens in our shadow. We don't really understand what's going on beneath the surface. And that's why, again, the meditation piece, the journaling piece, having these moments where you can sit with yourself so you can really see what's going on, So yeah, burnout is a real thing though. And you have to have guardrails.
I want to ask, I want to push back too, because I wanted to know, because I've always heard these phrases of like, let me tell a story actually, more than what I've heard. So I had a personal trainer like a year ago, just because I wanted to work on my core. I had
Mhm.
heard from someone that your core connects to your will to see through things when they get rough. Like sometimes when you have
Mm,
a weak core, you're not willing to see through or make decisions that require you to stay steadfast and like really buckle down. And
mm,
I felt like I had that inconsistency in my life. So I went and got a personal coach. And the first day, um, he said, he used these words specifically. He said, I want to see like where you're at as far as like what we need to work on. And he broke me that day, broke me.
mm,
But when he did it, right, I'm outside, I'm throwing up my little smoothie, and he like he's like basically saying, this is where you learn where your stopping point is at. Like you learn, you break through. Like you have to make a breakthrough. So can you talk about that? Like I might have had the wrong wellness coach, but I'm just asking like um what's
mm.
the philosophy on like getting to your limit so that you know what your limit is? And then like how, whether you break that limit or you just reach it. Like could you talk about that a little more? Because I wanted to learn more about that since ever since that happened. Like was I supposed to go that far? Did I need to see that side of me?
Let me say this, bro. Personal trainers like that, I want to punch in the face. To be
Okay,
honest, bro.
word.
Because here's the thing, bro. If you don't already have a good relationship with the experience of
I
exercise,
didn't go back.
this is exactly my point.
I didn't go back.
And this is what and a lot of personal trainers, they don't know what it's like to struggle because most personal trainers, they've always been fit. They've either been athletes, they were just wired different. So they don't know what it's like to go up a flight of stairs and have your heart beating out your chest. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so they're bringing this athletic
Yeah, it's
mentality,
athlete vibes, right?
you feel what I'm
Yeah.
saying, to regular people who are just not built the same way and don't have the same aspirational goals for themselves. Here's the thing: the exercise, the experience of exercise, you have to court that.
Mm,
You have to intentionally build a good relationship with the experience of exercise before we even
mm,
start thinking about limits and pushing yourself. You know
mm.
what I'm saying? We got to
Yeah.
get the habit established. In my personal philosophy, especially in the beginning, you want to make every experience connected to exercise pleasant
Word.
as possible.
Get
So
your
I,
brain to
yeah,
wire it in that way. Yeah.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
so I have clients, I'm like, yo, what do you like to do? Oh, I like to play basketball. Then don't fucking touch any weights. Just play basketball every day. You feel
Yeah.
me? For 3 or 4 days a week, just play ball. That's it. Don't worry about if you hate weights. Let's get you in the habit of movement regularly
Mm,
first, right? Once we establish that, then we can start adding on things that push your limits a little bit more. But let's establish the baseline habit first. You
mm.
know, that's my thought. Yes, do you want to eventually get to the place where you are pushing your limits and expect? Yes, but first things first. You know what I mean? Like first things first. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that, bro.
Yeah, first day in, I had came in on one donut and a green smoothie, and that was outside the front of his building, bro.
Yeah, he
He
tripping.
cooked
Yeah,
me. He cooked me.
and you know what? For some people, I don't know, bro. Most people that's just not gonna work. It's just not.
I took some of the exercises with me, and like you said, I found my own pace with it. So I do appreciate just techniques that I learned that day. But like you said, it was very much. I played basketball as a youth. It definitely the moment you said it, was definitely a much more athletic, based
Hmm.
training.
Hmm.
That's what it felt like. It felt like training, right? It felt like it was
Yeah,
in there training, right? So
yeah,
thank you for that that point of view because I'm gonna definitely start like reviewing that and looking into that more how I can court the experience of working out so that it's like a lot more enjoyable and that it's actually a habit that I want to develop and consistently maintain. Like
yeah,
it should feel
yeah.
good.
You want to be intentional about building a relationship with that experience.
Okay, so this is my last question, and then we can talk about anything else that you have on your mind. My last question is building a wellness plan because everybody who's here, they're like, okay, I heard my 3 steps. I've related to the burnout part. Like I understand how to limit or just manage that. So what's like a wellness plan? Maybe just like if 3 steps at minimum, like a plan that people can implement starting today as far as what we talked about. And then anything else, like I said, we'll talk about that after. So yeah, I want to
Yeah.
leave people with a wellness plan today.
All right. Figure out what is the most accessible form or way to increase your movement. That's it, right? For some of us, it may be, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym. And for others, it may be, hey, I'm just going to go for a 20-minute walk after dinner 3 days a week. Figure out what the minimum commitment looks like for you with movement, right? Start there. Next, when it comes to nutrition, which is a huge part, you want to don't start counting calories at first. Don't start meal prepping at first. I mean, if meal prepping it supports you, but let me say this, it's not like a requirement. What I think most people where they should start is focusing on eating whole foods, right? A lot of us, our diets are mostly processed toxic crap. So before you start counting calories and before you start doing all this other stuff, just make sure you're eating your as much whole fruits and vegetables. Bro, I grew up, I didn't really eat vegetables. You'd be surprised how many people, I didn't eat my first salad until I was 31,
Mm.
which is wild.
Oh my goodness, man.
This
That's phenomenal to just see how far you've come. Wow.
so I would start with that, right? Making sure that you're getting fruits and vegetables if you can afford organic, and even some of the organic stuff's like, honestly, you want to grow your own food, but that's another conversation. But try to get as much micronutrients into your diet, right? Getting fiber, getting enough protein. Just don't try to overwhelm yourself by doing too much. If you're eating out all the time, just cut back on eating out. If you're eating fast food, cut back on eating fast food. If you're drinking calories, if you're drinking sodas and juices all the time, just cut back on that and just start there. Because what's going to happen is you'll start to make these small tweaks and you'll start to feel better. Pay attention to how you feel when you go a week without eating fast food, or when
Mm.
you go, a few days without drinking soda and juice.
It's feeding your skin. It's the
You
first
start
thing
to,
you said.
yeah, your
You start
skin
seeing
starts
it.
clearing
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
your energy, your mood, your eyes, your hair, everything starts improving when you make these little subtle changes. So on the nutrition front, that's where I would start. Try to eat as much whole foods as possible. Cut back on eating out, because here in America, bro, the food in these restaurants, that's a whole nother conversation, bro. It's some,
yeah. Right.
it's, it's some, it's some garbage, bro. Um, so yeah, simplify the movement, simplify nutrition, and start with some sort of mindfulness practice. I meditate daily, but I started off with just 3 minutes of mindfulness every day. I started off with 3 minutes of mindfulness every day in a journal, a gratitude journal, where I said, I set a goal, 90 days. I got to write down 3 things I'm grateful for every morning. It took 2 minutes. Starting some sort of habit, and mindfulness habit is pivotal. And mindfulness, and when I say mindfulness, that can include gratitude journaling. It can include full out meditation. It can include you taking a walk and without your phone. You feel me? Mindfulness is not. You don't have to sit here and meditate with your legs crossed. It's about just being with your thoughts, observing your mind in some form or fashion.
Yeah, and I want to share one thing before I let you close us out. I was born before the internet, and I've watched the internet in its most infant stages, and now we seeing it just develop into its adolescence or maybe even its teenage years. And one thing that really stuck out to me in this conversation is the prior learned behaviors that we had, like you said, whether it just be the portioning of vegetables, the idea of a successful workday, prioritizing productivity over wellness and wholeness, right? Like just some of just the stuff we learned back in the day that just it didn't age well. It was
Mm,
misinformation or
mhm,
disinformation for somebody else's interest. And then on the other end, I'm recognizing like how much technology um, has democratized the information and the access to pretty much the information, even sometimes the resources as far as community
mhm,
or coaching.
mhm,
Because that's dope that you can get a wellness coach for $30 a month on your phone. That's a fly vibe. I think a lot of that became overstimulating, and it lent to amplifying and magnifying those past misinformative behaviors and
mm,
actions. Like it amplified it more than it released us or freed us.
mm,
And like you said something in your last point, the fact that going without your phone has become an exercise of mental, health. That just says a lot about how much it's instinctually and institutionally put into our lives. So we're
mhm,
going to continue to evolve this healing journey. We're going to evolve it into, like you said, being the average family, the average parents now have to be nutritionalists.
mm,
You have to have some, at least, if not intermediate, maybe even adept knowledge and critical analysis on food. Like
Hmm.
it's this is a very, very interesting conversation, and this is like a whole new world that can be unlocked for people. This is something that can really, I really hope that just one person really takes this information and then a year from now they're transformed,
Mm.
because this is a lot of information that we're just hitting the surface. We just giving you the tools so that you can start applying something today. But man, 6 months of this will transform somebody's life, man. Like, because this is the root to, shoot, it's even it's the seed and also the roots of a lot of people's situations that can be alchemized and transformed. So I really appreciate you taking this time to talk to me about it, and being so, well informed, and being a practitioner and being able to open up space to coach us, even like you said, with the demand that you have from certain spaces. It's like you don't really got to be here. You don't even got to turn your phone on for all of this. So I commend you for that. Was there anything else that you did want to share though, like before we get out of here, or that
Yeah, yeah,
something
I
that you
just
were called to share while we were here? Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure. And you kind of touched on it a bit, but really setting the intention for us to take our healing journeys more serious, right? The term healing, it's gaining, it's, let me say this, the taboo-ness of it is starting to dissipate, and I'm excited about that
Yeah,
because
for sure.
we're starting to recognize how important it is for us to address some of the emotional, challenges that we have, right? And it's becoming less taboo to have these conversations, but we still have a long way to go. So I want to leave this conversation with just a reminder, a reminder to check in with yourself on where you are in your healing journey, getting an understanding of how, the things that you may not be addressing are impacting your life, right? I'll give you a perfect example. For a long time, I didn't recognize how my relationship or the challenges there that I have with my mom was impacting my ability to grow my business.
Mm.
There's so many subconscious, seeds of sabotage that happens that we don't even know when we're not addressing our emotional challenges, the things that, because like I said, it's very elusive. It's things that we don't see. We don't really see the connection. So yeah, I want to leave that with you guys. Like, be more intentional about that, whether that, and healing looks different for every person, right? For me, it's shit, plant medicine, it's therapy, it's meditation, it's breath work, it's relationships, but whatever healing looks like for you, just be more intentional about prioritizing it, right? Because that job, even your family, all of that don't mean nothing if you are out here suffering and losing your mind behind closed doors. So take care of your heart, y'all.
Yeah, man. No, that was a good message, and I seen you practicing your hooping. I see you trying to hit a little league or something. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I hope your endeavors go very well. I hope your relationships, your life, and your journey towards healing and providing that space for other people continues to be abundant, Brody. You know what I'm saying? Thank you again.
I appreciate you, bro. Much love.
All right.
Peace.